Chris. 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 Yeah, you hear me? Chris. Unmute.
Hi, sir.
Ya, ada perubahan ke dia sequence of ni team? Dr. Zaki, cantik cantik punya background macam naik boat.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning and a very warm welcome to all the respective judges, teachers, and YouLead participants. Welcome to YouLead Star Confex, the 5th edition. Hi, I'm Riz Zariful Starza, and I will be your moderator for today. Ladies and gentlemen, did you know that the first YouLead Star Confex was initiated in 2017 by the 58th batch of Sekolah Tuanku Abdul Rahman? They collaborated together to create Star Confex that was initially supposed to be for Form 4 Star students only. However, other schools took interest in the program. So it became an annual event for all residential schools in Malaysia to come together and compete in various competitions, including YouLead. By the way, do you know what YouLead stands for? The U stands for youth, while L stands for leadership, E stands for exploration, and D stands for development. The main objective of this e-conference is to set a virtual discussion for future delegates to implement new ideologies and opinions so the world can be a more systematic and diverse community. As the previous head boy, Ilman Hakim once said, leadership is not about perfection, but inspiring others for a betterment. For this year's YouLead, the main theme is moving towards better future, where 11 residential schools gather and discuss on 4 sub-themes: mental health, biodiversity, youth development, and last but not least, education. Enough said. Now, I would like to introduce to all of you our honorable judges for today's competition. The first judge is Professor Zaki bin Zainuddin as the chief judge. Next is Dr. Pau Kee, specialized in mental health. Finally, our last judge, Professor Askury bin Abdul Kadir. All the judges' decisions are final and individual marks will not be disclosed. Now, I would like to invite Muhammad Haras bin Shamsaidi, Director of Star Confex, to give a short speech. You're welcome.
Thank you, moderator, and thank you all of the judges for attending this event. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Haras, and I am the director for this year's Confex 5th edition. I am so happy to see that you all are here and participating for the main competition Confex. Even though we are not here together, but with the use of technology and the countless hours spent by our team to make this year's Confex come to reality. As this year's slogan, expectation to virtuality. Don't forget to tell your friends to watch the presentations so we can get the most amount of views. Other than these main competitions, there is also other competition as well, such as iCoding, Music and Arts, and e-Explorers. Be sure to watch all of those competitions as well. Enough said, I wish you all good luck and try your best to win the trophy. Thank you.
Thank you, Haras. Now, I would like to invite the Chief Judge, Professor Zaki bin Zainuddin, to give a short speech.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum and good morning. Thank you, Mr. Moderator, for the kind invitation. Thank you to the school for inviting us here today to participate in this conference. As you all know, it's been a very challenging time amidst the COVID pandemic. Even with respect to the conference, it was supposed to be held, I think, somewhere in January, and there was an outbreak in many schools, and this conference had to be postponed. So despite all of this, you guys managed to persevere and still organize it online and get everybody here today. So in that respect, I would like to congratulate all of you. So I think in that itself, to get everybody here today, despite the various adversities that we are facing at the moment, that itself is an achievement. So congratulations to all of you. What else to the presenters today? I would like to wish all of you good luck in touching the various topics. No need to be too nervous. Be yourself and enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Zaki. Now is the time that we have been waiting for. There are 11 schools altogether who participate in this year YouLead Confex 5th edition competition. The schools are Malay College Kuala Kangsar, Sekolah Seri Puteri, Sekolah Tuanku Abdul Rahman Group A, Sekolah Menengah Sains Tengku Muhammad Faris Petra, Sekolah Tuanku Abdul Rahman Group D, Sekolah Datuk Abdul Razak, Sekolah Menengah Sains Sultan Mahmud, Sekolah Berasrama Penuh Integrasi Gombak, Tunku Kursyah College, Sekolah Tun Fatimah, College Yayasan Saad, and finally, Sekolah Sultan Alam Shah. Now, without wasting any time, let us begin with the first presentation from Malay College Kuala Kangsar on the topic biodiversity.
Greetings, judges and fellow students. My name is Rida and I will be representing MCKK for the topic of biodiversity. Now let us start with a brief tale of two tigers. The first tale is that of the Caspian tiger. Located somewhere in the Caspian region stretching from Turkey to the Caucasus, the Caspian tiger was a fearsome creature immortalized in history and folklore of the ancient region renowned for numerous civilizations. The Caspian tiger looks similar to our own Malayan tiger but was distinct for its immense size and powerful legs. It was a fearsome beast and considered among the largest of the tigress species. Further south, 13,000 kilometers away from the Caspian region, on an island in the southern hemisphere, was a home of another predator called the thylacine, otherwise popularly known as the Tasmanian tiger. It was not, however, the tiger species. It was a carnivorous marsupial, more closely related to a kangaroo. It was, however, wrongly described as a tiger due to its distinct stripes. It was an amazing creature who would carry its young in a pouch and would hop around on its two hind legs like a kangaroo. The Tasmanian tiger suffered the same fate as the Caspian tiger, only much earlier. Its last known sighting was in the 1930s. Both species are officially extinct and have disappeared forever from the face of this planet. Hunted down to extinction by humans, these mammals are only 2 out of over 500 species which have gone extinct in the last 100 years due to human activity and urbanization. This little tale of two tigers is to show you that our planet's biodiversity is under grave threat. No matter where on the planet, the northern or the southern hemisphere, our planet's biodiversity is disappearing. According to certain studies, in the foreseeable future, up to 2 million species of plants and animals will go the way of the Caspian and Tasmanian tiger. Extinct. So what is biodiversity? In general, biodiversity refers to the variety of living things on our planet, including plants, animals, even microorganisms. Our Earth's biodiversity has millions of species, ranging from the rare deep-sea firework jellyfish to the common oak tree. But even though there are so many new species being discovered, there are just as many going extinct. There are a total of 4 characteristics of biodiversity: species diversity, ecosystem diversity, functional diversity, and genetic diversity. Species diversity is the different species represented in a certain community. Ecosystem diversity is the variation of ecosystems within a geographical location. Functional diversity is the range of different things organisms do within a community. And genetic diversity is the variety of different genetic makeups in a certain species. In this video, we are going to talk about 3 topics essential to the preservation of wildlife and biodiversity. First, the unsolved problems that make once flourishing species endangered. Next, the importance of preserving wildlife. And lastly, the solutions that will hopefully solve these problems. The Oxford Dictionary says that to preserve is to maintain something in its existing or original state. What does wildlife preservation truly mean? Wildlife preservation is to restore and preserve ecosystems, plants, and animals that can be found all around the world. The most prominent threat to biodiversity on Earth is habitat loss. Deforestation, pollution, and fragmentation have been identified as a main threat to 85% of all species in IUCN's Red List. Another big issue that has caused the extinction of the dodo bird, the Tasmanian tiger, and many more is indiscriminate hunting. This is where an entire species could be hunted down to extinction, usually by poachers, to sell their valuable animal parts for really high prices. The final major threat is infectious diseases. A good example of this would be the chytrid fungus. It actually originates from Asia, but was introduced to America due to pet trades in the 1970s. It is now one of the biggest threats to amphibians there. So how exactly do we solve this? Fortunately for us, there are already efforts being done all around the world that we can do too. First, stop purchasing products made from endangered animals and their parts. Next, protect public lands and wildlife sanctuaries. We can also create campaigns to raise awareness about the importance of our biodiversity and teach people how to properly preserve it. More and more unique, beautiful plants and animals are going extinct every year due to human activities. In the wise words of Paul Oxton, founder of Wild Heart Wildlife Foundation in South Africa, humanity can no longer stand by in silence while our wildlife are being used, abused, and exploited. It is time we all stand together to be the voice of the voiceless before it is too late. Extinction means forever.
Thank you, Malay College Kuala Kangsar. I did not know that the Tasmanian tiger is not considered a tiger, and it can carry its young in a pouch and would hop around on its two hind legs like a kangaroo. Who? Now, I would like to invite Professor Zaki to start the Q&A session.
Okay, thank you very much for the interesting presentation. Okay, you talk about diversity and you started your presentation with the tigers. So I'm wondering, what is the fate of the Malaysian tiger? So how are we going to preserve the Malaysian tiger species? I think that's important.
Mic testing, can you hear me? All right, thank you for the question, Prof. So all of us in here are the Malaysians, and something that we need to be aware of is, has it ever crossed in your mind? Everything that happens will definitely begin with something, as well as whenever we want to make a change, there must be a core to it. Same as the fate of the Malayan tiger, lives in Malaysia. And as for today, the core of the change we are moving towards a better future is the awareness of ourselves. Well, to be asked, how do we know if we do care and we do be aware of the issues? Well, even now, we have chosen to be in this conference to discuss. And this shows this has proven that we are aware and we do care. And for the next move, are we going to continue endangering the wildlife, or we are going to protect it? The same as the question, how do we preserve the Malayan tiger? We are the Malaysians, and we need to protect something that symbolizes. Then the awareness is the key. Awareness is the core of the problems. The decision in our hand. Thank you.
Representative from MCKK. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Pau Kee to ask another question.
Okay, thank you so much. Representative from Malay College Kuala Kangsar. I think it's a beautiful presentation about the biodiversity. So my question is that because just now Zaki actually has asked like how do we preserving the tigers of Malaysia, right? So actually I do have this quite similar point here. I think just now you answered the questions. I just wondering because actually in Malaysia we have been promoted a lot about the awareness. We also have been talking about a lot about we stop buying the product that's making from the extinction animals and something like that. But how can we enhance this awareness in the young generation, especially? Because for the older generations, I believe we do know about that. But the question is that it's more towards from generation to generations, because this is not one-time job. We not only enhance the awareness, but we also have to put into action. So I just wondering what kind of the further actions that we can do. So I think that is the most important part. Awareness, we do have a lot, but the action part, what else we can do on that? So that is the solution part. I think I need to see is more toward the action plan or maybe toward the behavior to put into the behavior. If you can give me some ideas on if you have any things in your mind right now. Thank you.
All right, thank you for the question. I do believe in something that the world we are living now is the dream of our ancestors. And as same as today, let us take a closer look to the theme of our conference today. And here I would like to appreciate Sekolah Tunku Abdul Rahman for creating such a beautiful theme for our conference, moving towards a better future. So think of it. What is the actual future we are heading to? Maybe some economic development or the globalization of things, but still, do we call it future? Even we have to put our environment, specifically the biodiversity, the wildlife, in a bad condition? No. The future of the mankind today is not a future for the biodiversity. For the question, let's take a closer look. We do have the awareness. I do agree. But with the awareness, do we do anything to make sure we could preserve the biodiversity? No, we do not. We never done it before. And to be look like, once upon a time, the wildlife is not even being endangered since our ancestors' time. But today, the problem is we humankind never think of what is going to happen if we just think of the future that we want to have. Because it's just same as I said, the future of the mankind is not the future for the biodiversity. So the solution is we as a human needs to stop think about our further future if the future itself will ruin the lives of the wildlife. And if our future that we dream of itself can ruin the biodiversity. So that's my answer. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, I would like to call upon Sekolah Tun Fatimah from the opposing team to ask one question.
Hi, representing Sekolah Tun Fatimah. My question for you is, how can you really ensure that your campaign will maintain its consistency for quality effectiveness? Because we know that all sorts of programs like this have been done. And so how can you ensure that eventually your campaign will not die down in time? Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Well, I do agree that we do have so many campaigns, such as this Confex for the 5th edition, and even this YouLead is discussing about the biodiversity itself. But still, I don't think the problem today is the campaign itself. we do have enough module and we do have enough campaign to make sure that everyone is fully prepared to preserve, is fully aware to maintain the wildlife. But today, we need to understand that the thing that we need to focus on is how to make sure someone or anyone that joined the campaign is prepared to preserve the wildlife itself. It's not about how much prepared is the campaign to solve the problems. It is how much are we prepared to solve the problem itself. So again, I will repeat, it is not the problem of the campaign itself, but the thing that we need to focus further on is ourselves, because the future is in our hands. And the way to move towards a better future, there's no one except us to focus on it. Well, that's my answer. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, I would like to invite Professor Askury to give a feedback on the whole presentation just now.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Very good morning. Congratulations to MCKK. Well done. Actually, you try to elaborate all the biodiversity, not only in Malaysia, it's all around the world. But anyway, for me, I think it's better for you to emphasize on our country. For example, you just take a example of a Bloom Forest Park, or Elephant Sanctuary Park, or this Tiger Sanctuary in Tapa. I think this is all the elements of the awareness of the Malaysian, of government of Malaysia to preserve or to try to protect the animal. But anyway, all the poachers, is everywhere. Try to get the very unique things from the animal. But anyway, that's very good. Very good presentation, and then I like it very, very much. Thank you very much.
Next up, our next contestant. I would like to invite Sekolah Seri Putri to present their video on the topic mental health.
Hi and Assalamualaikum. In March 2020, the World Health Organization declared coronavirus disease 2019 COVID-19 caused by severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus. The COVID-19 pandemic has overly affected the psychological well-being, social and working life of millions of people across the world. The first Movement Control Order, or MCO, included the closure of schools, higher education institutions, and non-essential business, as well as a general prevention of mass movements and gatherings across the country. The COVID-19 pandemic has made huge global impacts, including high death toll, loss of income, and social restrictions for billions.
We have some technical issues with Sekolah Seri Putri video just now. So we will take a 5-minute break for one. Sorry.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Everybody can hear me, eh?
Yes.
Just to share an interesting fact about the tiger just now, the Malaysian tiger, I just want to share with you. Even the
Snap, bring your A game.
Dunia pendidikan sudah berubah. Semuanya sudah berbeza. Kita tidak lagi boleh gunakan cara lama. Snap telah merupakan satu game changer. Pengajaran dan pembelajaran akan menjadi lebih menarik.
Snap is now introduced in Sekolah Tuan Abdul Ibu, Kolej Hiasan Saat Melaka, Sekolah Menengah Sains Tambah, and schools in Perlis as part of our pioneering early adoption drive. Statistics show a positive increase on student utilization rates, analysed based on homework submission at 76%. 80% of educators and students agree that organising school tasks is now made easier with Snap.
Mudahnya guna Snap. Saya boleh bagi homework, marking, semua dalam Snap je. Siap pada rekod dan analisis. Mudah saya nak pantau tugasan murid. Teknikal support pun ada kalau saya perlukan bantuan.
Based on my experience, Snap is the coolest app I've ever seen. We can play games while learning new things and even send our works with just a few clicks. In short, Snap makes my life easier.
Perks of using Snap: free subscription, Google Classroom integration, performance report and analysis, gamification features, rewards program, and equal profit sharing with schools on income received from advertisements. Interested to learn more? Just ask Edri.
Snap, bring your A game.
you see, even the name become contentious. Pentatrigis jacksoni or Pentatrigis melanisis? Just to share, interesting, for you to share that fact, interesting fact.
Ross, any reason why there is no tiger in Borneo?
That one mostly on movement tu, more on movement side because dia suku the island kan. Tapi in Borneo they have the cat. I'm not the leopard cat. That one more indigenous kepada to Borneo lah. That one also even in that it is very interesting that you raise that point, Prof. Even that species, the leopard cat, for many years was thought to be extinct, until recently. Camera Trap found the leopard cat. I was thought to be extinct in Sabah, Sarawak. For many years. Only recently they found that actually there's still some sparse population, you see. So there are many interesting species that's actually unique to Southeast Asia. I give another example. Simple species. We call this. We talk about tigers. These are all exotic creatures. Tigers, leopard cat, and all this. But we take simple species. Udang gala. Everybody knows udang gala, right? In Perak, there's a lot of udang gala. Microbacterium rosenbergi. That's the scientific name. Microbacterium rosenbergi. Everybody knows udang gala, right? Tahu kan udang gala? You know what's special about the udang gala in Malaysia? You know what's special? The udang gala in Malaysia, Microbacterium rosenbergi, is the biggest freshwater prawn in the world. A lot of people don't know that. Actually, it's found here in Malaysia. Yang sepit biru tu kan, the blue with the blue, that is the largest freshwater prawn species in the world. It's found here. Microbacterium rosenbergi. Nampak? Very interesting. That's why I say we have a lot of treasures, you see. We have a lot of treasures that sometimes we don't know or we don't fully appreciate.
doesn't carry any Malaysian name inside there.
Yeah, exactly. You see, itu I will start talking about Kelah. Prof mesti tahu Kelah. The Masir, the Malayan Masir. You know the Malayan Masir? Some of you know Malaysian Masir. That is one of the most expensive freshwater species in the world. Because we're waiting now, I share with you. Let me know if you're ready to go. Just let me know. It's still technical problem, ka?
Yes, I think the video can be shown now.
Okay, they show already. Okay.
I would also like to say thank you to Professor Zaki for the info just now. Okay. Now, I would like to invite Sekolah Sri Putri again to show their video presentation.
Hi and Assalamualaikum. In March 2020, the World Health Organization declared coronavirus disease 2019 COVID-19 caused by severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus. The COVID-19 pandemic has overly affected the psychological well-being, social, and working life of millions of people across the world. The First Movement Control Order, or MCO, included the closure of schools, higher education institutions, and non-essential business, as well as a general prevention of mass movements and gatherings across the country. The COVID-19 pandemic has made huge global impacts, including high death toll, loss of income, and social restriction for billions of people. Our research project will be discussing mental health issues, including depression and stress, that are known to negatively impact teenagers, especially in the ages of COVID-19 pandemic. Depression is an emotional disease that is increasingly serious among teenagers today, mostly involving school students. So, this situation is very worrying when student depression can lead to worse incidents such as criminal behaviors, social problems, and suicide. So, stress is a feeling of emotional or physical tension. It is your body's reaction to a challenge or demand. In an instant, stress can be positive, such as when it helps you avoid danger or meet a deadline. But when stress lasts for a long time, it may harm your health. Generally, types of depression range from anxious distress, involving a constant restlessness, while persistent depressive disorder characterized by lack of interest in normal daily activities, and major depression are with overwhelming feelings of hopelessness, sadness, or emptiness. Among the types of stress includes acute stress, with symptoms of intense fear, a consistent sense of feeling pressured associated with chronic stress, and episodic acute stress that can occur on and off. Among the major leading factors, both depression and stress include toxic environments. So this can be seen by lack of family affection and abusive home environment. Other than that, online learning due to restrictions during the pandemic has oftentimes been referred to as a cause of this mental illness. Additionally, ongoing families such as divorce or separation can cause additional and emotional harm to teenagers. So, with the result of our research, we have determined and selected a few methods to overcome these mental health issues and heal the scars of our generation. So, firstly, teenagers must seek out a good support system for them to rely on in times of need. So, a support system can consist of trusted family members, friends, or even teachers. Next, teenagers must also be more open with talking to others, like sharing their feelings or simply venting out their current worries. So this can help them relieve burdens on their minds. It is also very important for teenagers to be able to take a me time and unwind without the presence of others. So this action could benefit our well-being as we focus on ourselves more. Stress often makes us hard on ourselves, and this leads to extreme pressure on our mind and body. Mental health problems can affect their quality of life, academic achievement, and physical health, such as performing poorly in their academics. And mental illness often has a ripple effect on families. Mental health issues can be an extremely painful and traumatic time for all of the family and leads into having a huge impact on a family's financial and emotional components. Other than that, people with this mental health condition tend to not go out and socialize as they are scared to meet new friends or being in contact with any outsiders. So this type of community is a community that needs more attention because there is a way to help them. These are some platforms that you may reach out to when needed. So, have you heard of Befrienders? Befrienders is a non-profit organization that provides emotional support 24 hours a day to those that are lonely, in distress, or having suicidal thoughts. Furthermore, there's also an app called Plus Vibes. Plus Vibe that also allows users to anonymously chat with a helper through voice chat or its messenger, so that users can disclose their problems or issues they are facing. And lastly, Thoughtful Chat. Thoughtful Chat is an accessible and affordable mental wellness solution. It connects users to certified mental health professionals, and they will check in and provide daily coaching during the monthly subscription. Although the number of COVID-19 cases during the data collection period was relatively low, there was a continuous increase in the percentage of respondents with depression, anxiety, and stress symptoms, implying an increase in mental health burden. By demographics, young people, specifically students, females, and people with poor financial conditions were highly exposed to mental health symptoms. So these findings focus on the necessity of monitoring mental health disorders among the public during the COVID-19 pandemic as identified in this research. To conclude, we hope that our findings could show the importance of mental health awareness and why it should be taken as a serious matter. We also wish that our presentation will help our country in moving towards a better future. To those who are still struggling, remember that you are not alone. There's always a platform for you to reach out to. With that, I thank you.
Thank you, Sekolah Seri Putri. I think your animation is really cute and very aesthetically pleasing. I also love that you mentioned some helplines and applications in your video. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Pau Kee to start the Q&A session. Do welcome.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I think thank you so much for the wonderful presentations, and really appreciate for bringing this mental health issue as a main thing for you today. So my question is that because just now you have been you presented about stress and depressions. So my questions to you, in what conditions that individuals it will develop from stress to depression, and it taking how long time for the individuals that moving from the continents from stress to depression. Can you hear me?
Okay, thank you. Yeah,
Okay.
thank you. Testing my mic. Can you hear me? Okay. Thank you, doctor, for your question. So, okay, let's say about stress and depression. Okay, mostly nowadays, I'm sorry. Mostly nowadays, stress and depression are mainly why students and teenagers nowadays feel low, and they are mostly not going out. They just stay in their room sometimes, and sometimes people start with stress and then they will move to depression. And this take time. So there's people that slowly takes time from stress to depression, and there's people that have a long time. Example, stress first start with so let's say stress starts when you have problems when online studying. You don't have friends that can reach out to. You have problems when you're learning something that you can't understand, but you don't know who to reach, and you have no one.
and then you will start feeling stress, and then when this develop, it was slowly turns into depression, and depression really is bad because when you have depression, this will move towards a worse condition where you feel like there you start thinking of suicidal, you start thinking that you do not matter in this life, and you feel alone, you feel like I don't want to live anymore. This depression is why we say that it's really bad, and why we need to talk about mental health now, so that people will be aware why we need to know, why we need to say no to depression, why we need to help them, why we need to help our friends, so that this condition can be, you say no, we can be help them to not feel depression or stress. Thank you.
Thank you, Amira. Next, I would like to invite Professor Askury to ask another question to Sekolah Seri Putri.
Okay, congratulations, Sekolah Seri Putri. But anyway, you are born in the online class and so on. During my time, I don't have any online class. Old timers is always with job and so on. Okay, right. Anyway, I believe that you have faced a lot of problems on the online classes and so on. And then how I would like to ask you the reality that you face during the online class. Are you feel very stressful, or do you feel in isolation, or are you feel at your communication breakdown or something like that? Can you explain on this?
Okay. When I say about online learning, people say for me it's different, because when we're in real life classes, when you don't understand, you raise your hand and directly ask your teachers, and this is different. Why I say it's different from online learning, you're just gonna be seeing your screen, and what teachers say might not come direct to your head. You may have time, you might take time to understand, and it's different because first you're at home, and sometimes our parents are not home because they're working, and sometimes their parents are working from home and they're with us. And also we have siblings. Some siblings kind of sometimes don't understand us because there's small siblings and there's older siblings. For me, I don't have any siblings that younger than me, but I have my sister. We actually are twins, so and we go to the same school, so we have each other. So when I don't understand, I can simply ask my sister, "What is this? Can you explain to me?" And this actually helps because I have a friend this the same age as me, and this kind of feel like I'm in class, I'm in real class. This helps, but there's people who don't have the same way as me. There's also like younger sister, younger brother that kind of can you play with me while you're in class? So there's a bother to them, and that's why there's stress because sometimes you really want to learn something, but you cannot focus because there's some other things that bothering you at the time. That's why there's stress when you're learning online, and not the same as in real life, because in real life the whole class is listening to the same thing and you have the same focus to the teachers. Yeah, that's why I say it's really hard learning online classes. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. Now, I would like to call upon the opposing team, Sekolah Tuanku Abdul Rahman, Group B, to ask one question.
Hello and good morning, everyone. Thank you for the moderator. So I have a question for Sekolah Sri Putri. We know we live in a modernization century and we use technology for the improvement. How can treatment outcomes be maximized by combining existing treatments options such as meditation, psychological therapies with digital mental health interventions? That's my questions. Thank you.
That's an interesting question. Thank you for the question. Okay, so let's see with technology now. Let's just what I say in the video, we have headlines like some apps and there's we can call someone. This technology is something new that can help us to solve our stress and depression. So when we have this kind of technology, we have ways to solve our depression and stress. So let's say when there's no technology, we can seek our help from the doctors, and this way also can help us to say no to depression and stress. When we have technology, it's better lah. It's better for us because it's easier to reach, because we have phones, we have parents that can help us with this technology, and beside that, it's really good when we have this technology that can help us to maintain ourselves, to help ourselves realize that actually we're not alone, and we can just click our hand for help. Yeah, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Amira. Now, I would like to invite Professor Zaki to give a feedback on the whole presentation by Sekolah Sri Putri just now.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Moderator. First and foremost, congratulations to Sekolah Sri Putri for presenting and bringing up this matter on mental health. People like me and I don't know, maybe people from the older generation, mental health issue is something that is new waters for us, so to speak. But I think it's nonetheless a very important topic, and it's very brave that you brought it forward. And I think it's very important, and I think you should continue to talk about it. People from I think who are more seniors, so to speak. When we talk about mental health issues, sometimes they have difficult digesting. Back in the days during our time when we were growing up, when we were facing the adversities, some people just say you just deal with it somehow or other, which I don't think is right. I don't think is right, especially in this situation where you have in the midst of COVID and the challenges, studies where you don't have to be in a social environment. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of challenges there. So I want to congratulate you for talking about this topic. But I guess the question will be, how do we move forward from here? How do we have a so-called support system, say for example, at the local level? When I say at the local level, I'm talking about at the school level. So are you going to talk to your counselors? Do you have counselors? Are the counselors in the schools properly trained? Are you going to have a student body that can offer support services, mental support services? These are the things that maybe that you can elaborate further on, or think about. But overall, good presentation. Congratulations.
Thank you, Professor. Now, we will have a 5-minute interval. The judges are asked to fill out the Google form during the interval.
Bring your A-game.
Dunia pendidikan sudah berubah. Semuanya sudah berbeza. Kita tidak lagi boleh gunakan cara lama. Snap telah merupakan satu game changer. Pengajaran dan pembelajaran akan menjadi lebih menarik.
bring your A game.
Dunia pendidikan sudah berubah. Semuanya sudah berbeza. Kita tidak lagi boleh gunakan cara lama. Snap telah merupakan satu game changer. Pengajaran dan pembelajaran akan menjadi lebih menarik.
Snap, bring your A game.
Dunia pendidikan sudah berubah. Semuanya sudah berbeza. Kita tidak lagi boleh gunakan cara lama. Snap telah merupakan satu game changer. Pengajaran dan pembelajaran akan menjadi lebih menarik.
Snap, bring your A game.
Dunia pendidikan sudah berubah. Semuanya sudah berbeza. Kita tidak lagi boleh gunakan cara lama. Snap telah merupakan satu game changer. Pengajaran dan pembelajaran akan menjadi lebih menarik.
Snap, bring your A game.
Dunia pendidikan sudah berubah. Semuanya sudah berbeza. Kita tidak lagi boleh gunakan cara lama. Snap telah merupakan satu game changer. Pengajaran dan pembelajaran akan menjadi lebih menarik.
Snap, bring your A game.
Dunia pendidikan sudah berubah. Semuanya sudah berbeza. Kita tidak lagi boleh gunakan cara lama. Snap telah merupakan satu game changer. Pengajaran dan pembelajaran akan menjadi lebih menarik.
Snap, bring your A game.
Dunia pendidikan sudah berubah. Semuanya sudah berbeza. Kita tidak lagi boleh gunakan cara lama. Snap.
So, for the third team, I would like to invite Sekolah Tuanku Abdul Rahman Group A to present their video. Do welcome.
I have great faith in Malaysia's future when I look at young Malaysians because we are truly the generation of disruptors. We dare to think out of the box. We're a lot more in tune with public policy discussions. We know that the decisions made today will affect our future more than ever. And that's where we are more invested in fighting for that future like never before.
And more people are starting to realize this.
Thunberg led about 25,000 protesters outside the climate summit today. The demonstrators calling on politicians and business executives to do more to address climate change.
If you were given 5 ringgit, what can you do with it? Maybe buy some candy, a small figurine. Why not notebooks instead? I've always thought how can I better utilize this 5 ringgit. But I'm a senior in high school and financially dependent on my parents for basically everything. Growing up, I always had big dreams about what I wanted to do. But I was always told to wait. You are too young, they say. You do not know what you are talking about. Buying into this concept of waiting while I did exactly that. Or at least I tried whether inside or outside the classroom. We were always discussing politics, global food crisis, the right to vote, and a lot of other issues in the world. But we were never asked to find a solution, never pushed to do so. So we cannot vote because we are under the legal age. We cannot donate money because we do not have an income. And we cannot skip school to address the next global issue. So what can we do? But this did not stop Greta Thunberg from becoming a symbol of youth-led advocacy. At just 16 years old, she has taken lead on climate change. She is not alone. Thousands of young people from across the globe are taking up the fight to save our planet from Sierra Leone to Brazil. Another example is Fiona from Uganda. Fiona is a final year university student, but because Ugandan schools and universities have been closed since March due to lockdown, Fiona, like other students, had plenty of free time. In June, youth organization Restless Development set up call centers in 6 rural districts of Uganda to support communities to report cases of gender-based violence and economic exploitation during the lockdown period. Fiona offered as a volunteer, call operator in the Leptong district located in northern Uganda. These 2 examples of youth power shows to you how youth can be very potential and essential for the betterment of the future. Moving on, a youth is any person between the age of 15 and 30 years old, regardless of their gender. Unfortunately, the youth are the backbone of a society and hence they determine the future of any given society. This is because all other age groups, the kids, the teenagers, the middle-aged, and also the senior citizens, they all rely on the youth and expect a lot from them. This makes the youth to be an important age group in both today's society and the future society compared to other age groups. We have the ability to go to school, to be who we are, to chase our dreams and be the best version of ourselves that we want to be. So now, let's continue into politics. So why is this a problem when we talk about changing the world? It is a problem because youth do not hold this power. We are living in a world in which where almost every country pretends to have a democracy. I mean, even North Korea is officially called Democratic Republic of Korea. So let's take a look at the presence of youth in the main decision-making body of democracy, the parliament of all parliamentarians worldwide. There's only 2.6% of politicians under the age of 30. So how does this compare with the world demographic? Well, there are approximately 7.9 billion people on Earth. Out of those 7.9 billion people, only 2.6% are considered youth. You can see, here I identify the reasons why young politicians are much more needed in the cabinet to ensure social and economic developments in the country. Youth is the backbone of any nation. This is the important segment of the society and youth can play a vital role in the development of the country. But this young and able workforce is not being given their chance to shine. The presence of advanced technology also empowers the current generation of youth. This means that the current young generation is so much different compared to the past youth generations. What do I mean by this? Younger generations could be, say, the most up-to-date generation in society. TikTok, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, just to name a few, is why youths are so much more mature and better in decision making. They are exposed, they try to understand, and they think of the possible actions that they can take when there is a global or national crisis happening. So what is the role of youth in building a nation? Young people are directly affected by the future they create for themselves. The possibility of reap what they sow puts themselves in a position of accountability in regard to the choices they make. Young politicians are thus required and obligated to ensure the sustainability of Malaysia's finite resources and how they will be allocated. In a country where 28% comprises of youth, the youth of today desperately needs representation from young politicians. Creating a nation equipped with young people interested in and who are more aware of Malaysian politics. Indeed, this was proven to be true when the country observed a much needed surgical of political interest among the youth, following the appointment of Syed Saddiq Abdul Rahman, a promising young politician, as the Youth and Sports Minister for the former Pakatan Harapan government in 2018. In a survey conducted by Lenovo covering more than 15,000 people across the globe, it is found that people exposed to technology are much more open-minded and charitable. Truly, young people's exposure to digitalized knowledge and information from around the world reveal to them there is no single way or perspective to anything, that everything is relative. That's all from me, Faris Khan, signing out.
Thank you, Sa'i. Now, I would like to invite Professor Askury to start the Q&A session.
Congratulations, star. You're always star. Always brighting. But anyway, congratulations for very, very powerful and very impactful presentation. But I would like you to comment on the actually now in Malaysia. I want to go overseas. In Malaysia, the new lineup of the State Assembly of Johor. Now they are mostly young people or is below 40. What is your comment actually on this? Is it going to be impactful for the state of Johor or for Malaysia as a whole?
Thank you, Professor Askury, for the wonderful question. So let me clarify that things that happen in Johor, the recent state elections of how young people are applicable in the cabinet is one of many initiatives that our nation is moving towards a youthful position in the world. So meaning that if we start slow and we start at the bottom of the table and regarding upon how our nation dispatches issues from governmental problems, economical problems, and financial problems, it is a wise decision for our government, for our nation, to put young people in the state cabinets and also politically encouraging them to be active in our cabinet. So my comment upon PRN Johor or the state elections that recently happened is one of the most sensible things that shows that we are moving towards a very youth position, not just in our country, but in the world. So that's my comment. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you, Arfan. Now, I would like to invite Professor Zaki to ask another question to Sekolah Kanka Abdul Rahman.
Okay, thank you, Afan and staff for the presentation. Okay, very quickly, just now you said in your presentation that youth are the disruptors, the main disruptors. And I'm not going to contest that. But at the same time also, Malaysia being a multiracial, multi-religious society, there are sensitivities in the country. and with disruptions, there may be certain, some of these sensitivities may be affected, and that also, can affect advancement of the country. So how do you strike that balance? How do you strike that balance between, healthy disruption and preserving the sensitivities?
Thank you so much, Professor Zaki Zainuddin, for that very wonderful question. Yes, I totally agree with you, Professor. We're talking about, just like you say, we're talking about new waters here. We're talking about fresh subjects for our younger people to explore. That's why research indicates that young people who are surrounded by a variety of opportunities for positive encounters can engage and can learn to be less risky behavior. So that if we say that, okay, for instance, our generation is applicable, to even be active, politically active in politics, so that in this vulnerable time, it's a chance for them to learn and for a chance to them to explore about things. And about your statement about healthy disruptors, for me, I truly believe this is a very big chance for our young generation to be exposed and explore, because for me it's all about taking risk. Because if one, I truly believe is an important element for a certain country to be advanced is we have to take risk whatsoever. So that's my response to your question. Thank you, Professor Zaki.
Thank you, Arfan. Now, I would like to invite the opposing team from Tunku Kursia College to ask one question.
My question for Team Star A is, as you can see, our current cabinet and politicians are mainly comprised of older people. When Syed Saddiq rose as Minister of Youth and Sports, it was mainly met with backlash from Malaysians, saying that he's too young, inexperienced, and such. Why is this, and how can we overcome this as a country?
Thank you, Ms. Amira Suraya, for that open-minded question. I agree with you. During Syed Saddiq stand in front of all the people in the cabinet, he was not taken seriously. He was rejected. He was demeaned by everyone in the certain cabinet. But if you realize, Syed Saddiq made a great point that day, because I was watching TV that day. I was watching live the cabinet at TV3. I agree with Syed Saddiq's statement about how the government works upon career options and what so on. Do not they realize that Syed Saddiq has a very great point, and he is moving towards something that other people will not see. So the cabinet is scared yet uncertain about his statement about how it can drastically change the nation. That's why. And so on. He is holding a position of a very young people, and in the perspective of our local Malaysians, they think that young people are very reckless. Young people are very risky. Young people are very rebellious in choosing problems and also solving them. So that is something we should not regard. We should give them a chance. And also, Syed Saddiq is doing his best also. For instance, the Muda Party in the state elections, and also me and his team regarding the issue of lowering the election limits from 21 to 18. That are the most. Those are just naming a few things that he did. So an overview production saying that it's not about how people accept him, because I know Syed Saddiq would not take this for granted. He is taking drastic measures at the same time, seeing how the country works for a distinctive future, but just not for us, but also for the future generation, what so on. So that's my response to you. Thank you, Ms. Amira Suraya.
Thank you. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Pau Kee to give a feedback on the whole presentation by Sekolah Tuanku Abdul Rahman Group A just now.
Okay, thank you very much, So I think it's kind of like a little bit sound in the parliament that we arguing, that we discussing about this topic. It's very, very important topic. Congratulations for Star A. Okay, so I think about the youth developments, undeniable. The voices from the youth is super important, that we need to listen and we need to give their chances, and we need to like at least empower them to speak out for themselves. But undeniable at the same time, for the youth to speak out, definitely throughout the process, they also have to go through a series of the training, because in order for them to achieve this maturity, definitely we as an adult, especially school teachers, school counselors, and also college, university level, they need to be trained in order for them to be able to achieve that level. Because right now we know that youth developments is including a lot of different aspects. We're talking about the developments of the country. Definitely youth, we shouldn't left them behind. So this is the part, if we need to put the youth role at the front. So there's a multiple things we need to look at. It's not only like we give them chances to speak. So we need to make sure that they are well developed in multiple perspectives as well. Especially we know that there's a lot of issue that just now Prof have mentioned about like how they can voice out in the healthy way and how they can convey their message well. So I think this part we also have to take into considerations. Definitely we're talking about a lot of the politician part, but youth role also important in the educations, in the transformation of the digitalized world, because we know that youngster right now is all talking about digitalized and so forth. So their role will stay, but we need to accept, and we also have to helping them to develop to become that maturity level in order for them to be able to contribute to our country. So it's a good topic to discuss. I'm hoping like can bring forward to discuss in depth about this topic. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Pau Kee, for the feedback just now. Next up, for the fourth team, I would like to call upon Sekolah Menengah Sains Tengku Muhammad Faris Petra to present their video on the topic youth development. Do welcome.
As the youth moves from the adolescence and enter adulthood, there are always a set of unique challenges and experiences that they have to deal with no matter what their backgrounds are, while other issues have always been there yet have failed to be properly addressed until now. The advancements of today's technologies has changed the way they interact, think, and also their lifestyle. Good afternoon and happy day 25 of the year 2022 everyone. As the presenter today, I'm Siti Balkis, proudly represent Sekolah Menengah Sains Tengku Muhammad Faris Petra. Would love to share to you guys information my team have researched related to the youth development. First of all, youth development refers to a discipline in the field of youth work founded on the belief that young people are best able to move through the developmental stages when they are supported across all sectors of the community by individuals, families, schools, and youth agencies. Youth development is focusing on activities that nurture developmental assets rather than on reducing particular risk or preventing specific problems. It is important to help youth become a successful adult that not only could handle problems but also they are fully prepared to be responsible, healthy, and able to contribute to the nation. To become a great achiever, and support from the sides who play a big role are really helpful, like families and communities. By having positive surrounding from communities or communication with families, they promote healthy youth development when they expect and trust the commitment from youth. This can prepare the youth to be responsible, trustworthy, and resilient.
Nowadays, we can observe that adults engage in self-employment more than youth, especially in developed countries like Malaysia. Are you having any difficulties when you as a youth are jobless right now and your ability was condemned?
First and foremost, I would like to say thank you for asking a constant question.
As a youth, I admit that each generation or each of them had to deal with a variety of obstacles. As we can see, most of the job requirements in Malaysia stating that they want to recruit an individual who has few years experience of working. And as employer, we understand, of course, they want to ensure the equality of the work revenue. But the question is, where are our opportunities to work and dig for more experience? In the future, we trust that we will always want a change in the development of the youth themselves, who will be the future leaders of the country. I'm talking about me. Sometimes I'm having mental difficulties, especially when people always underestimate my ability, saying we as youth are not able to deal and solve problems because we are lack of experience and guidance. The fact that, of course, we still have to learn the mistake from our predecessors and guidance from the experts, so that gives us the opportunity to explore the past, discover the true solutions, and trust our ability. At the same time, we will develop unprecedented skills. But glad to see now that society's acceptance of youth is being welcomed better and better every day. Thank you. To show the seriousness of the government in producing a generation of youth who have the potential to contribute to the development of the country, youth development policies are established to ensure the ability of youth to mobilize strength, resilience to the social, economic, and political development of the country. The aim of the National Youth Development Policy is to establish a holistic and harmonious Malaysian youth force imbued with strong spiritual and moral values, who are responsible, independent, and patriotic, thus serving as a stimulus to the development and prosperity of the nation in consonance with the Vision 2020. In realizing the National Youth Development Policies, there are 7 strategies will be implemented, which are the knowledge development, attitudinal development, vocational and entrepreneurial development, inculcation of a healthy lifestyle, partnership in development, and international relations and networking. To make this clear, the age of youth in each country is basically different, but looking at the example of Malaysia, an individual will be considered as a youth when they have reached the age 15 to 35 years old.
What are the things that make you confident with the capabilities and quality of youth?
First thing first, there are so many importance of youth that we as adults have to realize. The first one, youth is a world of potential. We can see that youth nowadays are self-sufficient. In this phase, they enjoy the independence and desire to try new things. At the same time, make them limitless possibilities since they are amidst of classic ideals, current ideas and technologies. Some may believe that putting our future in the hands of teenagers, whose ideas range from simple to complicated, is a bad idea. I don't get it. The solution is simple. We simply let them do. We allow them to imagine, think, explore, and achieve their goals first. We equip our youth with the skills they need to collaborate and solve problems, as well as brainstorm and reflect without condemning or criticizing them. We enable them to believe that their voice matters. Secondly, young people are change makers. In fact, the world's 1.8 billion young people are a critical resource for imaginative change that will lead to a more fair and sustainable future. Civically engaged young people have shown to be a potent force for change throughout history. We have seen youth-led initiatives that have effectively received international attention and challenged attractions practices within governmental, private and non-profit organizations and institutions in recent years. Believe me, the youth today is the future for tomorrow. Next, youth are key to sustainable development. So how can a youth get involved in achieving the sustainable development goals? Get engaged local politics. When young people participate in local politics, there is awareness of problems that are beyond the scope of the older generation. They also learn from the mistakes of their predecessors and develop leadership patterns for the new age. It helps them develop a heart for the people. The youth are not too young to run. Not only that, the youth today is the future for tomorrow. They will be professions and traits that will shape our economy. They will be the policymakers who will govern our society, and they will be the parents who will raise the next generation. Today's youth are an important part of society. They are not only tomorrow's leaders but the partners of today. Today's generation is fast-paced, and the kids are eager to learn, explore, and make changes. In conclusion, youth development is an important matter that should be highlighted. Youth aspire to inspire before they expire. Thank you.
Thank you, Faris Petra, for that amazing video in the style of news reporting to discuss about the importance of youth development. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Pau Kee to start the Q&A session.
Okay, thank you. First, I would like to congratulate to Sekolah Menengah Sains, Tengku Muhammad Faris Petra. You did a wonderful job for the presentation and very informative about youth developments. And really like the way that you list down on like the role of the youth in different type of the developmental process and what aspect you need to take in care. So my question here, seeing the youth you have been mentioned, highlight is very important of the youth developments and their role. So I just wondering like, I am focused more on youth themselves. So what kind of role they can play in their own developmental process to ensure they're able to maximize their potential in order to be able to give these contributions to the nation.
Thank you very much for that questions. First of all, with the advancement of today's technology, we can see that youth nowadays, they are exposed to many kinds of situations, many kinds of problems when they are at the very, very early age. So to maximize the good and effective potential that will happen in the future, these youth are encouraged to be active, especially during the youth. For example, they can join in activities, in volunteering activities that was organized by the non-profit organization. By doing so, they can gain experience, they can get an additional knowledge that we think that most of the youth will learn it at the older age, but they are advanced, they get it earlier. So by doing so, they are actually become advanced, and also this kind of activities, it can open their border. They can know many people, they can know many backgrounds, like we are putting them into a problem, like into a kind of hard situations, then they are trying to adapt. We let them to imagine, to discover, and to adapt with the youth nowadays. They are not only the future leader, but they also the partners of today. I hope that answer your question.
Thank you, Faris Petra. Now, I would like to call upon Professor Askury to ask another question.
Okay, congratulations to Faris Putra. You did very good presentation just now. But actually, I only have a very, very simple question. And then I need your comment. Actually, most people say that the young generation in Malaysia is the TikTok, Netflix generation. Can you comment on this?
Of course, nowadays we are growing from the child to the teen, and also when we enter adulthood. Right now, we are exposed to those kind of social things, social platforms. Like we can see right now, at even at the age of 9 years old, some of the kids already have the accounts. Right now, let's look at the positive sides. By doing so, by exposing this youth to the social media, I think that they can gain their true role model. But here, of course, when they come to a large world, I mean to a wide world, some of the youth they are not able to determine which role model is trusted, or which one they can follow and which one they cannot follow, which is that give a negative influential. By doing so, let me make a simple example. If that one kid are able to choose which subscription of the game is worth, then they can choose which role model that they can take as a people who as their idol. And by doing so, this youth, they become more open-minded. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you. Now, I would like to invite Sekolah Tengku Abdul Rahman Group A, to ask one question.
Thank you, moderator. I have a question for Ms. Alia Frida. There's an estimated value of 1.2 billion young people, which meaning 15 to 30 years old in the global population, and yet 2.6% of them are socially active. What are your response on this? Is it something the lack of exposure, or are they just not taking any chances? Please, thank you.
Sorry, can you repeat that question? I'm having line problem.
Yes, of course. The point being is that there are 1.2 billion youth people, and 2.6 of them are socially active, not politically, socially active. 2.6 of the 1.2 billion people are socially active. So my point being is that what is your response on this? Are they not taking any chances, or the factor is that they are lack exposure or something like that?
All right, thank you for that questions. All right, based on Mr. Arfan, they said that some of us are socially active, right? And of course, by looking at this, we can see that they are concerned about what was happening around the world right now, and we can see that they are concerned. But they are telling us how they want the world or the future, how they want the future to be. So I think that they just giving their opinions, and their voice should be heard, and we have to realize that their voice are matters. I hope that answers the question. Thank you.
Thank you, Alia. Now, I would like to invite Professor Zaki to give a feedback on the whole presentation by Sekolah Petra.
Okay, congratulations for the very good presentation and Q&A. I guess on the presentation, I think something my feedback would be to be a bit more animated in your presentation, can be more, how shall we say, vibrant in your presentation. I think that's something that you can look at. In terms of the content and all that, yeah, sure. I mean, you discuss about all the matters regarding what youth can contribute and whatnot. But I think we also want to know that what tangible thing that the youth generation, that the younger generation has to bring to the table. I think that's the bigger question. And I think one of the biggest things that gets underestimated is the idealism of youth. You know, I listen to, if you listen to Prof. Shah Faruqi, he's a constitutional expert. After this, you can listen to him. He always says that one of the main foundations of the federal constitution of the country is that sense of idealism. The constitution itself has to be founded on a sense of idealism, okay? Because you aspire for the stars. You aspire for stars. You want to reach the stars. That's what idealism gives you. But you may not reach the stars. But you aspire to reach for the stars. And for youth, you have this, what I call this sense of idealism, which I think is fantastic. But the problem is, as you grow older, some sense of that idealism gets lost in training and whatever you say, you want to be more realistic, whatever, and a lot of things start to get compromised, and that's where the problem starts. So I think that's one of the biggest things that youth has got to bring to the table, that sense of idealism that many adults like me have lost as we grow older. As we grow older. So that's something that you need to be mindful of. Huh? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Professor. Now it is time for our 5-minute interval.
bring your A game.
Dunia pendidikan sudah berubah. Semuanya sudah berbeza. Kita tidak lagi boleh gunakan cara lama. Snap telah merupakan satu game changer. Pengajaran dan pembelajaran akan menjadi lebih menarik.
Snap, bring your A game.
Dunia pendidikan sudah berubah. Semuanya sudah berbeza. Kita tidak lagi boleh gunakan cara lama. Snap telah merupakan satu game changer. Pengajaran dan pembelajaran akan menjadi lebih menarik.
Snap, bring your A game.
Dunia pendidikan sudah berubah. Semuanya sudah berbeza. Kita tidak lagi boleh gunakan cara lama. Snap telah merupakan satu game changer. Pengajaran dan pembelajaran akan menjadi lebih menarik.
Snap, bring your A game.
Dunia pendidikan sudah berubah. Semuanya sudah berbeza. Kita tidak lagi boleh gunakan cara lama. Snap telah merupakan satu game changer. Pengajaran dan pembelajaran akan menjadi lebih menarik.
Snap, bring your A game.
Dunia pendidikan sudah berubah. Semuanya sudah berbeza. Kita tidak lagi boleh gunakan cara lama. Snap telah merupakan satu game changer. Pengajaran dan pembelajaran akan menjadi lebih menarik.
Snap, bring your A game.
Dunia pendidikan sudah berubah. Semuanya sudah berbeza. Kita tidak lagi boleh gunakan cara lama. Snap telah merupakan satu game changer. Pengajaran dan pembelajaran akan menjadi lebih menarik.
As a society, owe it to them to create a truly supportive environment in which they too can grow and move forward. But are we? Today, we have a chance to make history with Star Confex. We have seen the increase of attention to our world's broken mental health system over the past few years. But we have seen the very little action. Today, our message is very clear. It is time for the world to act for the mental health. We believe in no health without mental health. Let us introduce you with our action plan MH2030, our new landing, where our last goal to achieve is where mental health is valued, promoted, and protected, and able to obtain the highest healthy lifestyle to move forward with the modernization century for a betterment future. Why is it MH2030, our new landing? You will find out why. This plan is detailed based on 5 guiding principles as follows. First, uphold human rights. Second, universal health coverage. Third, life cost approach. Fourth, evidence-based practice. And the last thing, multi-sectoral approach cooperation. These 5 guiding principles will be implemented to 3 departments: technology, administration, and health. Let's start with our first department, that is technology. The main thing that has been evolving since way back to prehistoric times has always been technology. We have been developing our knowledge, cultivating power that is technology to help us humans to survive and improve our quality of life in this world. Mental health has become a big issue in this era, and thus we need to shift some of our resources in technology to solve this issue. The way to effectively cultivate our technology to solve this problem is by improving our research capacity and academic collaboration on national priorities for research in mental health. By 2030, all countries will be routinely collecting and reporting at least a core set of mental health and crit system for gathering data and information needed for evidence-based policy making and policy evaluation. It will be wise for us to invest in developing and maximizing the use of deep analytics with big data, artificial intelligence AI, Internet of Things, IoT, blockchain in making informed results that are efficient. The miracle of big data and AI technology is not being fully utilized in the most countries of the world. We are going to integrate the mental health into the routine health information system and identify, collect, routinely report, and use core mental health. The government also has to practice the data sharing policy or openly or open data for the purpose of research and innovation. Moving on to the second department, administration, which needs to take the most action to combat this issue. There are already many countries that have policies that are older than 10 years and they have not been reflected recently in the developments of international human rights standards and evidence-based practice. Because of this weakness, it results in a failure in the governance management of mental health problems. Our objective is to strengthen effective leadership and governance for mental health. All countries will have to develop their policy for mental health in line with international and regional human rights instruments by 2030. The national stage needs to prepare a mental health white paper to develop, strengthen, keep up to date, and implement the national policies to mental health within all sectors in line with all regional human rights instruments. We have to establish an environment that allows multi-stakeholder to engage in continuous discussion on mental health policy. Most important is to expand policy-based mental health literacy in our society. Move on to the final department, that is health system. The current world health system are still weak because they lack essence which is catering towards the most important and the most malleable issue in health, which is mental health. What I mean by malleable is that it is the easiest issue that can be influenced and changed. The main issue of the current world health system are lack of availability of basic medicine and qualified health workers. We can prepare ourselves to solve this mental health problem when the country is in state of emergency. Our objective is to fully transform the health sector for the better. By 2030, service coverage for severe mental disorder will have increased. Drastic measures that need to be taken are systematically shifting care away from long-stay mental hospital towards non-specialized health, redesigning the system for hospitalization, for medical care and protection, while improving support for people with mental disorder, their family, and other people most infected. We also introduced mental health worker into undergraduate and graduate curricula. Learning for the recent pandemic, we have to cooperate with the emergency administration to include mental health and psychosocial supports need in emergency preparedness. In a nutshell, what I wanted to convey in my speech was we have the power to make a difference. We know what it means to have our life or the life of people we love get off track because of mental illness. It is all of humankind's responsibility. We know mental illness can be treatable when they have access to appropriate and comprehensive care. Look, I want you to start it right now while we are here. Put your name, phone number there, and let's start this paperwork. I believe, in the end, if we unite and work together, it can be done. It can be done successfully. Believe in me.
Thank you, Star B, for that amazing presentation on their new solution, MH 2030, our new landing to solve mental health issues. Now, I would like to invite Professor Askury to start the Q&A session.
Congratulations, Tabi, for a very nice presentation. Hopefully that you're landing very well in 2030. Hopefully that's for the betterment of the youth in Malaysia. Actually, nowadays that we know that it's a lot of very what do you call, so many people, so many young people, they cannot control themselves. So many that they have something that's not right in their mind. Okay, actually I don't know whether all these things is because of the influence from the technology or something like that. Maybe it's just a lot of internet that just interact into your brain, and then after that it's wrongly analyzed. Your brain is wrongly analyzed, and then you choose the what they call it, it's not the correct path. So is there any comment on this?
Hello and good morning. Thank you for the question. Clearly, there are a lot of issues going on here. But overall, I would say youth about technology, in my opinion, is a no problem at all, because the youth is the responsibility for their self to think what they can do about themselves. Okay. Where we can see every people have their own humankind's responsibility, where this is the thing that you have to achieve in dealing with these mental health issues, where every people, did they have eyes to see what happened in the situation themselves? Did they have mind to think what happened, to think the best solution in dealing with their issues, problem? And did they have heart to think what happened to feel what happened in their situation? So my opinion is there's no problem at all. It's just about we in a society, we have to live in a good health, betterment for the betterment futures. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, I would like to invite Professor Zaki to ask another question.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Moderator. Okay, just a simple question from me. It relates back to my earlier point. What can you do to get the school, your teachers, even your parents to take mental health issues among youth more seriously? And what can be done at the school level?
I think what we can done is about we can warn each other, or we can do such as a competition like a speech competition or essay about mental health speech to inform, to aware that this is the main problem issues that are going in our world not right now. So for the school level, I think this is the best solution and the best way to sort of to dealing in these mental health issues. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, I would like to invite the opposite team from Sekolah Dr. Abdul Razak to ask one question.
Hello. Hi, Shahi. So my question is, based on your solution from MH 2030, I love the name. It's very catchy. And I want to ask you about the accessibility of this system for people from low-income household. How are they going to reach this? How are they going to reach for help? And especially for people who actually have depression or anxiety and having mental health issues, it requires a high fee or a high pay for them to actually reach for professionals. So I want to ask you, are the government going to give like free consultation or something, or are they going to give free medications or free, I don't know, one-to-one session with the patient? I hope you can answer and explain this question. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the questions. Clearly, I hear your concerns about these mental health issues. However, as we plan about with our actions, we believe that we know every country has every problems. However, as we believe if we unite together, it can be successfully done. How? How can we want to think where we believe in any country has their own specialties in dealing with mental health issues, such as if that country has a financial problem about that, we can help each other with the UN and WHO, with UN and WHO. With has UN and WHO, I believe we can help each other in dealing with the problematic issues. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Representative from Sedar, for the question just now. Now, I would like to call upon Dr. Pau Kee to give a feedback on the whole presentation by Sekolah Tuanku Abdul Rahman Group D just now.
Okay, thank you so much. And congratulations for Star Group B. So again, you have been highlighted about the mental health issues. Based on the video that you presented just now, because you start the video, it's talking about the COVID, and then you're talking about the crisis. Actually, MH370 and MH70, that is more about the crisis, and the connection between that crisis to the mental health, I think you need to further elaborate to make it clear. Otherwise, people might get confused about how that the MH17 can relate to mental health. So definitely they do have the very closely related to each other. And in the video also present about the different types of technology. You highlight about the science and technology research in mental health. This is very important point, but I haven't seen a very clear the problems that you highlighted here. So that's why I think for the further improvement for the video part, maybe can add on more evidence-based data about the mental health issues and why more research need to be done in this field. And also you mentioned about some data administration part about political departments and the health system. So actually in Malaysia, since pandemic, we have a very good, well-developed of the mental health system by KKM, the Ministry of Health. And they work very hard in order to make sure all the hospital have prepared with a counselor and with a clinical psychologist and even for the psychiatry. And for your information, actually right now, for those who need to access to the hospital, to the counselor, psychiatry, you only need to pay a very basic amount of the money, like firing it for the registrations. And that medication, if you are the students, you don't need to pay the extra money at all. So this is the part I think the government has done a lot and have invested a lot of money to help to enhance this mental health. So that's why in this video, I can see the idea on like the solutions that you come out, maybe need to elaborate more to make it highlighted that point so everybody can see your point. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Now, for our final contestant in the first session, I would like to invite Sekolah Dato' Abdul Razak to present their video on the topic mental health. Do welcome.
Ladies and gentlemen, mental illness has been a dire issue alongside the economic effect of the pandemic, which caused havoc globally. According to a PDRM statistic on suicide cases, the number of suicide cases almost doubled in the first 5 months of 2021 compared to 2019. Amendments to the Penal Code, which would repeal Section 309, is a step in the right direction. But its long-standing use in the Malaysian criminal justice system tells us a lot about our view of people with mental illness. Suicide is believed to be a morally wrong act and within one's control. Thus, it is necessary to sanction punishment against it. Mental illness is detached from its social and economic causes and viewed merely as a personal problem which they created themselves. But is this the right understanding of the problem of mental illness? And is it adequate for us to develop solutions to this problem which affects students along with their families? COVID-19 spelled trouble for a lot of families. Within the context of Malaysia, the labour market went through a turbulent time whereby unemployment rate surged up to 5.3% during the pandemic from the 3% prior. And it has remained high compared to pre-pandemic levels. Not only that, the average salary dropped by 9% ever since the pandemic started. Low-income households are experiencing financial distress in trying to pay off their loans. Coupled with the economic insecurities already stated, families experiencing job losses or salary reduction are susceptible to feel the strain from financial debts. With the worrying rise in household debt to GDP ratio in Malaysia, how does this affect the borrower's mental health? Well, there is a significant correlation between financial debt, stress, anxiety, and also depression. Various studies support that individuals in debt experience greater depression as well as anxiety. The threats of foreclosure, bankruptcy, and reduced spending all contribute to a decline in mental health. With an unstable labour market on one hand, it should be no surprise that the mental health of Malaysians is worsening. To help them navigate through these tough times, we propose a couple of solutions. We advocate for financial literacy and partial cancellation of household debt. Financial literacy is a knowledge and skill that is vital in letting low-income households manage their financial obligations and household spending. Without such knowledge, manageable debts might become unmanageable from unwise financial decisions. The skills help them to prioritize which spending is necessary and how much to save up for various financial goals. However, there are limitations to this particular solution. Low-income households can be responsible in managing their finances, yet the cost of living is rising, which questions the feasibility of leaving this problem solely to them. Personal responsibility should be extended to things that individuals have control over. This is why we believe the government should provide help to them in the form of household debt cancellation. We'll talk more about debt cancellation in the second part. It is not just families that are dealing with debt. In order to attain higher education, students have to incur debt from student loans. However, graduate unemployment has been on a rising trend for 5 years, and the pandemic has only aggravated this. The future seems bleak for current and future graduates on whether they can manage their financial situation. Uncertainties regarding their career and finance during this time is ripe for stress and anxiety to develop among students and graduates. The New Zealand Journal of Social Sciences compiled multiple surveys on the connection between student debt and their mental well-being. They found that having more financial concerns correlates with worse mental health. Adding salt to the wound, remote online learning has been a challenge to them, becoming one of the main stresses for Malaysian students. Students from low-income households might not have good digital access and infrastructure that is necessary for online classes. Learning in a home environment might not be conducive for them, and all of this adds up to a depressing reality for students. The solution to the student debt problem is not too different from that of household debts. Firstly, we propose a targeted and partial cancellation of students and household debts. Lending institutions like PTPTN will reduce a significant part of a borrower's debt according to their capability to pay, by which P40 households and income earners are prioritized. Instead, these debts will be managed by the government. Mental well-being of low-income households will also improve significantly from reduced spending cuts and increased savings that they could allocate once the debt burden is lifted. Finally, we would like to talk about our own initiative to help our fellow friends as well. RevoCare is formed out of the belief that we, as students, shoulder the responsibility to look out for each other's mental health. This is an example of our school's initiative aiming to help students who's facing a mental health crisis. In fact, we've managed to get a few students to share their personal problems, and we found that face-to-face social interactions help them to open up and improve mentally. Having this initiative implemented in other schools might provide the support system students need due to the social isolation during the lockdown. Although COVID-19 brought up more attention towards mental health issues, there's still a lot more that we can do in order to give these people the help that they need. Cancelling students' debt partially and assisting low-income households with financial literacy would eliminate their burden by a lot and help them get back on their feet. Our positive results on RevoCare showed why every education platform should have such initiative to monitor and help students who are suffering through mental health issues. If all of these solutions were to be realized, we believe that it would aid the situation that the world is in right now and actually bring us to a much brighter future for our people, a future where we care about mental health. Would you join us too?
Thank you, Seda, for being inclusive in the presentation on how pandemic affects our mental health, especially financially for the low-income families. Now, I would like to invite Professor Zaki to start the Q&A session.
Okay, thank you very much for the very good presentation. Just now you spoke about, how we can progress if we start working from now, what we're able to achieve in future. But let's look at the alternative. What if we don't do anything regarding mental health issues now? What if things remain as status quo, or little effort is being put in mental health? What are the potential consequences for the future generation and for the country?
I think when we're talking about the alternative, which is not doing anything, I think it's firstly important to emphasize the value of mental health itself. If we don't do anything and let them have worse mental health, be anxious and have a lot of stress, I think this is a bad thing in and of itself, even if it doesn't cause any ripple effects towards the society, to the economy. And talking about that effect too, I think it's important because to do something, it is important for us to do something because mental health has ripple effects on the economy, their productivity. And if they are not productive, if they are not having a good education because they are full of stress and anxiety, if they cannot work well and thus their productivity decreases, I think this will have a bad effect overall in the future and also for development of youth, for example. So I think that is the value in actually creating a solution for this problem.
Thank you. Now, I would like to invite Dr. Pau Kee to ask another question.
Okay, thank you so much. I think the presentation is very well, and you highlight a lot about the financial part, the problems that causing due to the financial, due to the impact of the pandemic, COVID-19, that brought individual having a financial issue as well, that's causing stress, depression, and anxiety. Okay, one of the solutions that proposed by the speaker just now is like to help reduce the debt and increasing the saving, which is, I agree with that. But how about those who have developed the stress, anxiety, and depression? So for me, I believe like if those already have the symptom and you help them to kind of like having more saving, that won't help in terms of the mental health because the symptom was there. So can you share with me the specific technique, like for example, I believe for the students, definitely you have been going through these stages as well. What kind of technique or strategy that you have been applied to yourself to help you reduce this stress, help you to reduce this anxiety during this pandemic period? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the question. I think it's very interesting that you point that out because one of the focus of our research is to point out the multifaceted way of understanding mental health. And for people, the financial aspect of it is one of the main causes of mental health problems. But like you said, maybe they don't have financial problems and they still have that mental health problem. So I think it's very important for us to understand why, the aspect of why they are having this thing in the first place. And I think for students, I think it's important for us to analyze why they are experiencing this. And I think the abrupt changes that happened during the pandemic, which forced them to learn online, is one of the main causes of it. So I think it is to solve that problem. I think it is better for us to focus and to strive towards letting students actually have face-to-face interaction and actually go to physical classrooms because they can interact with their peers. They can have that healthy social interaction and development. And I think like our example, we provided a system that schools can do to actually help their students by having this platform by which students can express their feelings and talk to people who might understand them and provide solutions to them. So I think those two solutions are feasible and can be implemented by schools and also the education system in our country.
Thank you, Wan Akif. Now, I would like to invite from the opposing team, from Sekolah Sri Putri, to ask one question.
Thank you, moderator. Representing from SSP, my question to you is, as we all know, our country will enter the endemic phase this 1st April. Due to COVID-19 restriction, quarantine and self-isolation is likely to cause a negative impact on one's mental health and consequently increase the statistic of mental illness in the society. Okay, my question, do you think that mental illness cases will decrease when our country enters the endemic phase and why? Thank you.
Personally, from what I have read and from what I can gather, I think it will actually somewhat decrease because the economy will improve somewhat, which leads to a higher income and they can actually have a less financial burden. And also students can have can go to schools and have face-to-face interaction. So I think from all of the data and from all of the research that we have gathered, we think that it will improve somewhat as we enter into the endemic phase. All right, so thank you.
Thank you. Now, I would like to invite Professor Askury to give a feedback on the whole presentation by Sekolah Dato' Abdul Razak just now.
Hello, congratulations for staff. It's very nice and very for me it's very like you cover it's a lot of things anyway from your presentation on mental health. But the good thing that I found here is your you mentioned that the main cause for this mental health is the money, is financial. I think that one is correct because everybody with the financial problems and so on, you go for suicide, and also if the people have a bankruptcy because of this pandemic, you go for it's going to be difficult for them actually, and then going to create a lot of anxiety and also depression for people. Actually, this is all that's the real thing. And then the most interesting thing that I would like to point out here is from your presentation is you touch on education because you are hungry, you would like to face with your teacher. Actually, you are quite about 2 years already. You are more or less 2 years without teacher face to face, because you see in our villages as well, if you like to menuntut ilmu, mesti ada berdepan-depan, kan? You have to face to face to your cikgu. I think this is the best thing that and then you are very lucky because we're going to jump into the pandemic endemic in 1st April, and then hopefully after this there is no more PDPR for you all. And then once again, congratulations for it's very nice, and then all the very holistic point that you try to elaborate in this competition. Thank you very much again.
Thank you, Professor. So this is it for our first session today. I would like to say thank you to participants for their presentations and judges for their feedbacks. However, this is not the end for today because we still have the second session at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. See you then.
Sentiasa menghadirkan pooling factor, kepada sekolah-sekolah ini, maka aplikasi Snap ni adalah antara aplikasi yang terbaik lah untuk memotivasikan pelajar-pelajar kita untuk menyiapkan kerja-kerja yang diberikan oleh guru dan juga memudahkan juga guru-guru untuk memeriksa kerja-kerja yang diberikan kepada anak-anak muridnya.
Kami as a teacher, personally kami rasanya sangat convenient and then systematic and aplikasinya sangat organised dalam menyambung sistemnya.
Antara ciri yang saya sangat suka sepanjang saya menggunakan aplikasi SnapAid ialah untuk pelajar menghantar tugasan sekolah yang diberikan oleh guru, pelajar hanya perlu snap saja gambar dan hantar dalam aplikasi tersebut mengikut waktu yang ditetapkan. Sangat mudah dan saya dapat lihat ada juga kesan positif dalam diri saya di mana saya menjadi seorang yang disiplin kerana saya membuat tugasan mengikut waktu yang telah ditetapkan oleh guru. Selain itu, antara ciri lain yang saya sangat suka dalam aplikasi SnapAid ialah sistem ranking. Sistem ranking ni ialah sistem di mana kita dapat lihat kedudukan pelajar dalam kelas. So, sistem ranking ini mewujudkan semangat persaingan yang sihat dalam kalangan pelajar untuk meningkatkan grade dalam subjek yang ada lah. So, saya anggap sistem ranking dalam aplikasi SnapAid ni ialah sebagai satu cabaran buat diri saya untuk meningkatkan prestasi dan grade saya terutamanya dalam subjek yang lemah. Selain itu, nilai peratusan yang ada dalam aplikasi ini juga memberikan gambaran jelas terhadap tahap kefahaman saya dalam suatu pelajaran terutamanya bagi subjek yang lemah. So daripada situ saya dapat mengenal pasti dan mengetahui di mana kesalahan dan kelemahan saya dalam subjek tersebut. So saya mendapat menjadi seorang pelajar yang lebih baik kerana saya dapat meningkatkan tahap kefahaman saya dan cuba untuk menjadi seorang pelajar yang cemerlang di samping mengekalkan prestasi dan kedudukan saya di dalam kelas. So, secara keseluruhannya, saya sangat berpuas hati dan gembira dengan servis dan perkhidmatan yang diberikan oleh pihak SnapAid. So, terima kasih SnapAid atas usaha yang diberikan kepada para pelajar terutama di negeri